there, I'm Dr. Angie, and in this video, I'm gonna be answering cat parents' questions specifically. So it's all about cats today. Lisa writes, my husband and I have a 7-year-old cat who for the last year has been meowing at night to be fed, which started after we started him on wet food. This is really common. We've tried many different methods to reduce this, including switching him from wet food to dry, feeding him half of his breakfast and an amount during the night, and then the other half in the morning, shutting our bedroom door, and feeding him right before we go to sleep. I wanted to try CBD, but I just read an article on your website that CBD can increase appetite in cats. Any suggestions or places to look for help? Well, this can be really frustrating, and I experienced this with my own cats. Once I took them off of dry food completely, they would wake me up in the middle of the night. Hold that thought, I have an itchy dog right now. I've got to save him from tearing himself open. Come here, guy. Come on. He just had to crash the cat video. So it's really common for cats to get really hungry once they're on wet food. And how I have dealt with this is I just feed them more over the day. So if it's possible to feed them like 4 times a day, like once in the morning, maybe once midday, if somebody's there, if you're at work, I mean, you can't do it, when you get home and then before you go to bed. That's helped my kitties a lot. The other thing I do is they have their own bedroom at night. And so I tuck them into bed and they go to sleep in their own room because they will prowl around the house all night meowing. And I have 2 young children, and there's so many reasons to not sleep anyways that I just can't have the cats waking everyone up. So that's how I've gotten around that. Now, if you ever used kibble, you could feed them a few kibbles before bed, and a lot of times that will help, but unfortunately it's just not the best for their health. And so I would see if you could feed them more times. The other thing you could consider is getting an automatic feeder, and they make automatic feeders that have ice packs so you can do wet food. It's pretty cool. And so maybe in the middle of the night it would open up for them. Now for some reason it doesn't work, you know they're going to come get you and tell you about it, but that can be really frustrating. Now a 7-year-old cat, I don't expect to have thyroid disease, but that is something that you should get checked out. Cats that are hungry all the time sometimes have underlying disease. They might have inflammatory bowel disease, so they're not digesting everything that they're eating, and so they feel hungry all the time, and thyroid disease can also cause that. So you want to make sure and get that ruled out with your veterinarian, but let me know how it goes, and I hope you can get some sleep very soon. Lana writes, have you had any success dealing with feline herpes? Our cat and her litter mates were born with it from their feral mom, and she's 2.5 years old and still having episodes. This is so frustrating. Many cats in my practice have chronically watery eyes or snotty noses, and sometimes we can help them, and sometimes they just live with these recurring episodes. One thing that I found to be really helpful is using CBD. There's something that CBD must do to the immune system, because I've had a lot of cats get really, they've had a recurrence rate go way down when we started them on HempRx for something else. So I kind of discovered that accidentally. I'd be interested to know if that might help for your kitty too. Other supplements like L-lysine and mushrooms to help increase the immunity might be something to consider. Also making sure your cat's on a really high quality wet or raw diet can also help. Reducing the carbs can help as well. Let me know how it goes. And then Jenny writes, what food is best for feline nutrition? So speaking of food, this is perfect. Wet food, and then how much of a sardine can you give a cat? So in my opinion, and not every veterinarian is going to agree, but the best diet you can feed a cat is either a canned or a raw diet. Feeding kibble or anything with really high carbohydrate content, even if it's grain-free kibble, it's got a lot of carbohydrate, really causes a lot of health problems. It increases dental disease, it causes obesity. It's really hard for cats to stay thin when they're on an all dry, or even if they have partially dry diets. Wet food and raw food have a lot more protein, and they have a lot higher water content. Cats are notoriously poor at keeping themselves hydrated, so anytime we can get that water in their diet, it's a lot better. And then how much of a sardine can you give a cat? Well, it really depends on how much your cat is eating, how much your cat weighs, but generally if I add supplements into a commercial diet, I will give them like a couple bites a couple times a day. I hope that helps. Let me know if it doesn't. If you have questions for me, you can find me at Angie at BoulderHolisticVet.com, and I'd love to hear from you. I'll talk to you soon.